Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. It's a pleasure to see everyone, and we're very happy that you've chosen to spend the next hour together. Leading us in an invocation today is Ricky McBride, owner, Ricky McBride CPA, followed by Wesley Gentle, President and Executive Director of Arts Fort Worth, who will be playing our national anthem. Ricky?
Would you bow with me? Father in heaven, we're so thankful for this day, a beautiful day, a day you blessed us with another day of life. And we're just so thankful for all you do for us and give us and how you take care of us. And Father, as our motto of Rotary Club is self-service above self, will help us to just follow Christ's example and how he treated everyone. So thank you again for this day and for the food. Bless the food to nourishment of our bodies. And thank you for all those that serve it and prepared it. And again, thank you for our Rotary Club. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Ricky and Wesley. Introducing our guest today is Derek Moffitt, Principal, Moffitt Financial Strategies. Derek?
Well, I have to say, you know, when I joined Rotary nearly probably over a decade ago, I didn't need these readers. I don't know, got around all you guys, and look what happened. I'd like to take a moment and welcome our guest to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. Ariel Smith is a guest of Fred Rouse. I forgot to give the standard disclaimer to not clap until the very end, so I can see why you would forget that rule that we have. Shannon Chrisley is a guest of Ryan Terry. David Farrell is a guest of Cheryl Harding. We have Gary and Max Tunagis, who is the guest of Cindy Tunagis. Rob Boudreau is a guest of Randall Fluke. Don Eller is a guest of Randall Fluke. Mr. Randall Howard brought Cynthia Durham and Kristen Riviera. Kyle Hollenbach is a guest of Tom Law. Leticia Espada is a guest of Rosa. Steve Connolly is a guest of Brian Miller, and finally, Anthony Hill is a guest of Ryan Drury. And since Joe Michaels recruited me, I'll take a moment and say we'd like to welcome Jason Ellis. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek, and we're very pleased that all of you have chosen to join us today. It is a tradition of the Rotary Club of Fort Worth to say together Rotary's four-way test, which was developed in 1938 and has been used ever since as a guideline for Rotarians worldwide in what we think, say, and do. Please join me. Number one, is it the truth? Number two, is it fair to all concerned? Number three, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number four, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. Today's meeting is being sponsored by TriQuest Technologies, brought to us by Rotarian Cindy Tonagas. Since 1997, TriQuest has helped area organizations with their technology needs, from support desk and proactive monitoring to expert advice and cyber threat protection. TriQuest customizes their coverage for your unique business needs. TriQuest techs are friendly, knowledgeable, and caring, allowing them to provide businesses like yours with technology support when, where, and how you need it. Thank you, Cindy and TriQuest. You may recall that earlier this year, our club decided to partner with the Colleyville Rotary Club on a Rotary International Global Grant. The Colleyville Club has significant experience in global grants, and in 2024 completed the installation of 5 reverse osmosis wells, providing access to clean water to thousands of villagers living in the rural north of Sri Lanka. This year, they are leading the largest clean water project in Rotary history, partnering with a number of local, national, and international clubs, including us, to provide access to clean water to over 58,000 people in Calcutta, India. It is my honor today to introduce you to the man behind this project, Keith Kasiri, the president of the Colleyville Rotary Club. When he's not working on Rotary projects, Keith is a vertical sales manager for Honeywell, in charge of their operations in 22 states. He has a fascinating background, having been born in Sri Lanka and having served as Sri Lanka's ambassador to Qatar. I know. Please join me in welcoming Colleyville Rotary President and Ambassador, Mr. Keith Kasiri, who will update us on this meaningful and exciting project.
Good afternoon. I wanted to start by saying thank you. And I joined Rotary about 5 years ago when I came back from my ambassadorial responsibility in Qatar in 2021. And as soon as I joined the Rotary Club, I think around May of 2021, by around July, they made me the chairman of the Rotary Foundation for our club. I had no clue what I was supposed to do. So I thought about myself and say, whatever we do, we need to really make an impact around the world. If I were to follow the 4-way test, then I need to start making an impact with our small club. We have only 45 members. We like to call ourselves, we are a small club, but a very mighty club. So with that, I came up with an idea. So we have to have an impact around the globe. So the thought was, how do I create that? So I created this logo and created this idea, 1 million drops of water. What that means is, in 5 years, we are going to feed 1 million people every single day with clean drinking water. So, next slide, please. So, why is it important? Because many parts around the world, rural areas, clean drinking water is the #1 cause for death. It's not the food, it's not the medical care, it is the clean drinking water. Why? These developing countries, they are so involved in agriculture because many mouths to feed. So in these countries, they don't have these large-scale farms. They have medium to small-size farmers, and they are not necessarily adapting into the new regulations and techniques and equipment. So they do exactly the same thing that they did 1,000 years ago. Part of that is the competition is getting in, so they are using more and more chemicals to grow plants quicker and better. By doing that, they're using, next slide please, so you can see the type of things they do is basically contaminating the water source with cyanide, heavy metal, calcium, all the bad things. In some of these areas, villages, 40 to 45% to 50% people has either liver cancer or kidney disease. And they die, average age is about 45 years. Can you imagine this? In this time in our life, we can't afford that. So I chose, let's do something about it, not just by myself, with my club and other Rotary clubs around the world, and connecting with them and try to build clean water plants. So here's the impact so far. As of yesterday, this is the plant that we opened with the support of your club. It was open and 12,000 people benefit every single day with clean water. So as you can see, before they even open the plant, in that part of the world, this is a more spiritual concept. So they have all kinds of spiritual things they do before they open the plant. As you can see, ladies are lining up with containers to take water home. Before that, these ladies have walked miles and miles and miles to collect water. So as you can see, this is the first plant. And next slide, please. And this is the opening of the tank. In this case, we use a very inexpensive filtration system produced by a corporation called Tata, which is one of the largest conglomerate in India. Tata Chemicals produce this nanofiltration, which basically filters everything, including the polio virus. So this particular one produces 99.9% clean water, and it does not require electricity, it's on gravity flow. So we chose to use this because it's cost effective. So with the support of Fort Worth Club, we are building 21 plants in very, very rural India schools. Every school supports not just the student population, but also the surrounding villages. So this is the first one that was opened day before yesterday. Next slide, please. This is the second one that was opened yesterday. So thanks to your generosity, you are saving lives every single day. Think about it. Your generosity make this possible. Next slide, please. So we are not just opening these plants and building these plants, we are actually educating the public on hygiene, about clean water, about how to take care of this plant. So these are the leaflets that we build. We'll actually print leaflets in their own language, and we distribute tens and thousands of these for each village. So that's what we do, and here's an example of that. Next slide, please. So I was told by Anne I had to stop in 10 minutes or less. So I have to tell this story, my personal story. Why am I so passionate about clean water? This is a picture from my very first project. And as you can see, the very first glass of water, I looked around, I saw this little girl standing next to me, I gave it to her. It's like a 12 or 14 ounce glass. This little girl, probably would have been 4 years or 5 years old, took this glass, went, I was so worried she's going to get too hydrated, right? But later on, I found their parents. I said, "Sir, didn't this girl got any water?" And his answer was, "No, sir, we have 6 members in our family. We could afford only 1 bottle of water to drink every single day." So that tells the story. So I framed this picture. It's sitting in my bedroom on the dresser. Every morning I get up, first thing I see is this. I'm so fired up. I'm so encouraged. I'm so much into doing this across the world, reaching 1 million people. So just to give you that story, to put this in perspective. And my last trip to India, last year we opened 11 plants, this year 21. And next year, I have plans for Philippines, I have plans for Kenya, I have plans for Nigeria and South America. We are already building 17 clean water plants in Kenya right now and a library in a very rural area called Magori. So that's one of the things. Next year, we are planning to do better, and I ask your support. Before I go, I just need to give me 1 second. Last year, when I went to India, I went to very rural areas. I observed something very, very unique, which I call simple happiness. So I wrote a book. When I came back, I wrote a book. I like to present this thing to Anne as an appreciation of her support to our club. Anne?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Keith, for your leadership. We are so pleased to be just a small part of this project, and we're grateful to you and the Colleyville Club for everything you're doing internationally. I'd like to call on Secretary Karen Telshaw Johnson, owner principal of Telshaw Johnson Law, PLLC, who has 3 second readings. Karen?
Okay. First up, David Farrell, Vice President of Development, the James L. West Center, Classification Healthcare, proposer Cheryl Harding. I move his election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
Is there a motion? I have a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. He is elected. Thank you.
And second, Bonnie Laglisi, Executive Director of the Statenet Museum Way, Classification Senior Living, proposer Cheryl Harding. I move for election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? She is elected. Thank you.
Certainly last but not least, Judge Joanne Reyes, Title Municipal Court Judge, Company the City of Fort Worth, Classification Municipal Courts, proposer Joe Michaels. I move for election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
We have a motion. Is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? She is elected.
Welcome, new members.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen. We're very happy to welcome David, Bonnie, and Joanne as members of the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. And we also want to thank our membership committee chaired by Deanna Stewart and Rebecca Montgomery. And as always, if you have friends and colleagues who are interested in becoming members, please see them. They are welcome to come and visit our club anytime. Today, we are in for a special treat with a program that I think you will be very happy you had the chance to hear. Here to introduce our speaker is Rotarian Ryan Terry, a United States Marine Corps veteran and the principal and CEO of RT Terry and Company. Ryan?
Thank you, President Ann, and thank you for all being here today, ladies and gentlemen. First off, I'm pleased to begin today by introducing our guest interviewer, Mary Staffeld. Mary is an Air Force veteran, retired. She's president of Roll Call, which is a North Texas nonprofit that honors veterans and serves them by providing a regular venue for fellowship and camaraderie. So Mary will be facilitating our discussion today, and we're very grateful for helping us in arranging our speaker today, Don. When Wayne Trimmer asked me to introduce today's speaker, I was deeply honored. As a Marine, there are few greater honors than to be able to share the fellowship of those who have built the legacy of our long and storied history. And today I have the privilege of introducing one of those men, our guest speaker, Don Graves. Don has done many things in his 101 years on this earth. He was a devoted husband to his late wife, Rebecca, to whom he was married for 72 years. He spent many years as a pastor in various churches and ministries throughout the country. He worked for a time at a federal prison, and he even spent several years as a professional singer and entertainer. But before all that, he was Corporal Donald Graves of the United States Marine Corps. And 81 years ago, he, along with the 80,000 men of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Marine Divisions, set foot on a small volcanic island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. That island was called Iwo Jima. It was the first piece of sovereign Japanese territory that America had invaded during the Second World War. And in 6 weeks of battle, that place and the actions of Don and his fellow Marines would pass into legend. In February 1945, the war in Europe was beginning to wind down as the Allies made their inexorable march to Berlin. The war in the Pacific, however, was about to reach an entirely new level of violence. When Don and his fellow Marines hit the beach on February 19th, the Japanese had been instructed to allow the Marines to come ashore, where they would be drawn into an elaborate defensive system designed to kill as many men as possible. Each Japanese soldier had been ordered to fight to the death where he stood and to take at least 10 Americans with him. Over the next 6 weeks, the Marines did what America has always asked the Marine Corps to do, the dirty work. The Marines methodically cleared the 8 square miles of volcanic rock, bunker by bunker, tunnel by tunnel, hill by hill. They used machine guns, grenades, naval gunfire, and when things got close, they used Don and his fellow flamethrower men to burn the enemy out with liquid napalm. They paid a heavy price for their bravery. At the end of the battle, American forces had suffered over 19,000 wounded and 6,800 killed in action. Among ground combat troops, 26 Marines and sailors on Iwo Jima would be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, 14 of them posthumously. In Don's unit, of the 335 men who hit the beach with him, only 18 remained at the end of the battle. There were no officers left among them. Of the 21,000 Japanese defending the island, nearly 19,000 of them were killed in action. It was one of the bloodiest battles of the entire Second World War. In the years since, Iwo Jima has become a byword for the tenacity and bravery of the Marines. The Marine Corps Memorial in Washington, D.C. depicts the famous raising of the Stars and Stripes over Mount Suribachi. But we should remember that those Marines depicted in bronze were, like Don, young men far from home who had pledged their lives that others might live. And so I hope you will join me in welcoming Don today as he shares his story with us. And I hope you will join me in honoring him and all those brave young men to whom we owe a debt that we can never fully repay. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Don Graves.
All right. Oh, so we're going to do this. Don and I started doing our talks a little bit different, where I'm going to ask him to tell you some stories, and he's going to tell you a little bit about his journey. And if we have time, we'll have him take your questions, but we'll also have him sing for you. Because that's what Don loves more than anything, is to sing.
Excuse me.
I said that's what you love more than anything, is to sing.
I started out at 10 years old. My grandma was from Ireland, and she wanted Irish songs, and I learned them. How many remember the old boy Bing Crosby? Who doesn't know about the Binger, huh? Well, he sang a lot of Irish songs years ago. My job was to crank the thing up. And when I'd go and sit down, they go, oh, and down they go. So I go back again. But
Hey, Don, we're gonna do some questions so we don't run out of time. Okay? So where was it that you grew up?
Detroit, Michigan. 1 mile from downtown, Warren Avenue, 12th Street.
So where were you when you heard about the attack on Pearl Harbor?
This was really, really strange to us. I was 3 of us were 16-year-old boys in the neighborhood. We were buddies. We grew up. We went off to war and came back. The only thing that happened, we couldn't be together because all 3 of us got married. And that took care of it. So we're sitting in the car, an old car. It's cold. And it was the day after Pearl Harbor. And all of a sudden, an announcer came on, stopped the music, and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States is going to address the nation." So we listen, and on comes our hero, our leader, our president that went through the whole war with us. And when we left Iwo Jima, he died of a cerebral hemorrhage, and he was gone. But we loved our president. We loved our country, and we loved our flag, and we'd do anything for it because the schools taught us. They taught us to believe that. I said, "Well, looks like we got to go to war." And he says, "You can't. You got to be 17 years old." I said, "I'll go downtown tomorrow. I'm skipping school. I'm going to get a paper." So I went down in the morning. I told my siblings, I said, "Don't say nothing to Ma. Don't say nothing to her. 4.10½ of dynamite." So they says, "Okay." So I went down, I ran 1 mile. I just ran. And I ran up on the Ford building. And there was a gunny sergeant standing in the doorway. He said, "What can I do for you, young fellow?" I says, "I want to join up." He said, "How old are you?" I said, 16. I was hoping he'd do it. He said, "I can't. You got to be 17. I'll give you a piece of paper. You go home. When you get 17, you have them sign that piece of paper, bring that back, and we can do business. You want to do that?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Go." I ran all the way home. I was so excited. But I forgot my mother was home. And she was in the kitchen. I ran the back door. She said, "What are you doing home?" And I told her. She said, "Throw that paper away. I'm not going to do that. I went through this with your dad. He was a Marine. You're not going in. You're too young right now. But I got 6 months to go, and I can fill this paper out. If you'll sign it, I think Dad will sign it." She said, "I'm not signing that." Well, we had a little bit of a party 6 months later. Not much, but my father was there. I said, "Dad, take this paper and sign it for me." He said, "What is it?" "I'm going to go in the Marine Corps." He said, "Give me a pen." He scribbled. He said, "Vera, come here." I'm standing there looking at my mother, and I thought, I think there's going to be a fight. And she said, "What?" "Sign this." "Sign what?" The boy wants to go in the Marine Corps. He's 17 now. She said, "I'm not signing that. I'm not going to go up with that. I'm not putting up with that again." Oh, she was insistent. And he said, "Vera, let me tell you something. The boy walks out of school. He does odd jobs. He'll probably turn out to bum. Sign the paper." She says, "Give me a pen." And she signed it. Right back downtown I went. And he said, "Good, you got it. See that door there?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You're going through that door. You're going to see a Navy doctor. And that Navy doctor is going to work you over from the top of your head to the tip of your toe." You know what I'm talking about? Every Marine here should know it. I can't speak for the other branches. Well, I passed, went home. 2 weeks later, I was in the United States Marine Corps. I want to tell you something. We got Marines over there right now. My prayer is that we don't put them in combat, that we can get it some other way. We don't need to put them through. I just can't stand to even think about it again. We're losing too many of our kids. Well,
Don.
Yes.
When, so as
You
all.
interrupted me.
I know, because we have a certain amount of time and we're trying to do this so that we don't run out of time. So you went off to boot camp, as many of your friends here know what Marine Corps boot camp is like. And after boot camp and a few other trips around places, you ended up on a ship headed to a little island. Tell us that story.
Well, it was Iwo Jima, and guess what? Sunday morning, I'm leaving to go back to Iwo Jima.
This
And
Sunday.
we're going to be there 7 days. And I'm going to walk up that thing again. I'm going to take a Jeep. I'm not going to walk it. I'll go around the back and go up. And when I get up there, it's going to be a lot of people. I'm the only one that's alive that fought on Mount Suribachi. There's one other. Billy Burr over Mississippi, he will not go. I can't get him to go. So it's going to be me. And I'm going to be alert and wait for all these fancy stories we hear that are not true. And I'm going to correct them. That's what I want to do.
So when you were on the ship going on to Iwo Jima, you didn't have any idea about Iwo Jima, where you were going. So when did you hear about the
I
island?
did not hear the word Iwo Jima. No one ever used that word. This whole operation was up to the president and our admiral here down at Fredericksburg. They were the only two that knew about that. Had no idea where we were going to go. One day out, they brought up clay models and put them on tables. We knew where we were going. The next morning, we woke up at 5 o'clock. We lay down the steel decks. We got up, grabbed our blankets, and they had chow brought up. And we had a steak. I never had a steak before in the Marine Corps. How many steaks you get in the Marine Corps? Unless you're an officer. One. All right. We lined up at the tables, we got the food, and a kid next to me was eating, and I said, hey, buddy, what's with the steak here? We have eggs, but not a steak. He said, Graves, use your head. What did they do with convicts before they execute them? Well, we reconnoitered, got in amphibious tractors, and out the mouth we went. But you couldn't get out the mouth to hit the ground. You had to roll over the side. Now, on my back, I was about an inch shorter, a few pounds lighter, and I had a 72-pound flamethrower on my back, a pistol, and a K-bar knife. I had to get out of that thing when we hit the sand, and that lurched. We couldn't see who was on the beach. I got up and grabbed the top of the rail, and my two buddies, left and right, they have to stay with me. That doesn't always happen. They boosted me up and shoved me over, and I went down in the water. They got down in the water, got me out of the water. We headed for the beach, and the only thing we could do would be to crawl over our fellow buddies that were lying there dead or waiting to move. We couldn't get off the beach. They had us pinned down 565 feet over there, Mount Suribachi, firing right down on us. It was slaughter. We lost 200 kids on that beach while we were there. Finally, we managed to inch up, crawling over our buddies, and that flamethrower is a target. Do you know the lifespan of a flamethrower in the Second World War in the Pacific? 4 minutes. I was the only one in my battalion that came back.
Hey, Don, when you were on that beach, something significant in your life happened.
Yes, it did. Depression kids never went to church. We didn't have decent clothes. We didn't have any money. We couldn't buy clothes. We had welfare. We got a pair of shoes every year. But I would not go in church because of the way I looked. Never went to church. I believed in God. I didn't know much about Christ. When I hit that beach and I saw what was going on, I put my face down in the sand and I prayed to God. And I said, Lord, I don't know much about you, but if you can do for me what people say you can do, I'll serve you the rest of my life and get me off this island. He got me off the island. 6 weeks later, I never thought about it. I want to give you something that I feel bad about it, even to this day.
Hey, Don, let's wait on that story until we get there. Let's wait on that story until we get there. So you're 565 feet, I think it was, and it took you 3 days to get there, right?
It took us 3 days to get there.
And when you got up Mount Suribachi, what did you see?
We fought our way up. They rolled hand grenades down, and we would just get out of the way if we could, but we had heavy casualties. It was heavy. Now, Lieutenant Schreier was told by my battalion commander to take a flag that he had in his blouse here. He said, the skipper aboard the transport that brought us said, Colonel, if you get up on top of that rock, see if you can put this up for me. Someone gave me this flag to do it. And Lieutenant Schreier said he would do it. All right, they moved around the left facing the water, and they moved up there. We fought our way up the facing. And as we got towards the top and got our eyes over the top, we saw them sort of raising the flag, and it came back again. And then they raised it again, and it stayed. Do you know what that pole is made of? Drain pipe. They found drain pipe there and put it together. Something came to me. How'd they tie the flag on? We didn't have anything for a flag. We knew nothing about a flag. That was not in the picture at all. That's how it really happened. Schreier found some wire, and they cut wire and tied the flag on. Well, it stayed up there for about a half hour, 45 minutes, and then the photographers came. Well, you know the story now. They took that down, put a big one up, and that's the story of the flag. But what I'm going to do when I go there next week, I'm not going to be mean or anything like that, but I'm going to listen. I've heard so many stories that never happened, and they weren't there. But they picked up a little garbage here, a little garbage there, and wrote on it. I am going to make corrections. That's what I'm going to do. All right, Mary.
All right, so once you left Mount Suribachi, where did you go next? After Mount Suribachi, where did you go? What was your next battle? We went to the
north. We fought all the way to the north, eight square miles. Now, let me just run short on this. I had an experience. It really hurt me. I was embarrassed, and I was mad. 3 of us got together. We lost our squads. 2 machine gun squad leaders, and me, demolition, flamethrower. I had nobody. So we fought together in that hole. Every night we would have a fight. It is by the grace of God that we got through the night. They would come at us about 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, rattling tin cans, banging on things, just to disturb you, just not be able to think straight. Well, we're sitting there. It's the next day. And I'm up there looking for snipers. The other 2 are sitting there. I was there 20 minutes. I looked all over with my glasses. I dropped back down, got on the horn, and I said, Graves, CP. They said, go ahead, Graves. I said, I told them what I had done. I could not find one body move. I couldn't see anything that was of interest. They said, well, you better keep looking because they know we're back here. They just hit First Sergeant in the leg with a .50 caliber, so they're out there. Keep looking. By the way, you got a kid coming for replacement. And we could use him, send him. So I kind of waited, and over the top by the ledge. He said, "Who's Graves?" And I said, "I am." "What do you want me to do?" I said, "Come on down here." So he came down the hole. And he said, "What do you want me to do?" And I said, "Just sit down over there. There'll be a lot to do tonight." I took the glasses, and as I went to go back up with my elbow on the ground, he said, "Graves, let me look." And I said, "No, you get yourself shot." My two buddies said, "He's here to do it. Let him look." So I threw him the glasses. He got up, and we're just shooting the breeze. And all of a sudden, pew, he fell back right next to me. His helmet rolled off between my feet. In the web caught was a picture of a beautiful young woman with a baby on her lap, and I lost it. I jumped up, I pulled everything off me, I cussed the island, I cussed the Marine Corps, I cussed God, having let that kid take my place. I didn't understand. I was so confused. 9 years from the date in Detroit, Michigan. I'm sorry, it was Wisconsin. We moved to Wisconsin. Billy Graham came to Oshkosh by way of film.
Hey,
Did you
Don?
want to say something?
Yeah, let's get you off the island, and then we'll tell the Billy Graham story.
Pardon?
Let's get you off the island, and then we'll tell the Billy Graham story. When you left the island, when after the battles were over.
Oh, the battle, yeah.
And then you went to the cemetery. Tell them about the cemetery.
Yes, because it includes everyone here, as far as the eye can see. We were on the latter part of the battle. We're on the north end. We ran them down by the water. If they jumped into the water, our boys would pick them off. If they surrendered, we'd let them be prisoners. They weren't going to go anywhere or do anything. So we got word that we're going to be replaced. Now, I hit the beach 6 weeks earlier. How many was it? 335. 6 weeks later, we were released. 18 of us, no officers. We walked down the beach. We were ordered by our colonel, Liversedge, to meet at the gate of the cemetery, which used to be at the base of Mount Suribachi. But the Japanese asked us if we would remove the cemeteries, 3 of them, and Johnson let them do it. So there are no cemeteries there. And people came and exhumed the bodies, and unfortunately, sometimes there's no body but a cross. That's it. It was a sad situation. But I got to tell you, we went back 8 years after the battle.
Hey, Don, you didn't finish telling them about the cemetery. What happened at the cemetery? What did you see at the cemetery?
Oh, yes. Well, I saw 3 kids that went to school with me. Their crosses were there. I saw all my buddies. We came back out. Well, as we went in, we lined up. And one by one walked through, and on the arch, as you went in, there was a piece of paper tacked 8.5 by 11 on the left. And every Marine read it as he went through. I saw it, and I read it. And this includes everyone here. This is what it said. Fellas, when you go home, tell the folks we did our best, that they may have many more tomorrow. Folks, you've been enjoying the many more tomorrows because a bunch of faithful kids loved their country, loved their families, and did what they had to do. That's never been known much, and that should have been publicized. I don't know who did it. Someone put that up. I think it was the CB. They do things like that. Yes.
So then, Don, you get off the island, you head back home, you left the Marine Corps, and then 9 years later, to the day that you made that promise on the beach,
You know, I heard about servicemen going home from war, and they couldn't handle it. Families would break up, fight. That happened to me. It wasn't from battling. I mean, nothing really. I came out of there as healthy as I went in. But the problem was the Marine Corps has a way of taking a young man and brainwashing him. I'm serious. He's brainwashed. He'll always be a Marine. Always. I'll always be a jarhead, a Marine. I'll never change. And when I came home, I acted like a Marine, talked like a Marine, and my mother didn't like it. My father was disgusted, but he should have known. He was in it. And my siblings didn't understand it. So I'd kind of stay away from home, and I just went out, and you know what I did. I lived it up. I went on a fishing trip. My wife and I were ready to break up. I was losing friends, and I had a lot of friends. They couldn't handle me. Yet my health was good. We went up to a fishing trip up north. Never caught a fish. They weren't biting at all. But we caught a lot of bottle bass. I came home, walked in, my wife was doing housework, threw myself on the couch, tried to go to sleep. The phone rang, and this is very important. She grabbed the phone, and I heard her say, "I'll get him for you." She came over and said, "Mr. Beeler would like to talk to you." Now, Mr. Beeler was an 88-year-old gentleman from Copenhagen, Denmark. He and his wife, they were our landlords at one time. Godly people. He said, "Donald," I said, "Yes, sir. I want to talk to you, and I don't want you to say one word." I said, "Yes, sir." "You are a mess. You're losing your best friends. You're going to lose your wife, and you're going to lose yourself, and you can't help yourself in the state that you're in. Would you take my wife and I to Billy Graham tonight at Oshkosh, Wisconsin, up the river, up the lake?" You know what I said? "I'll clean up, change clothes, and be right there." What is happening? 9 years from the day that I lay on the beach at Iwo Jima and made a promise to God, and I lied. I used him as a rabbit's foot, a lucky piece. And I was so ashamed after this. And we took them there. They put my wife and I in the front row, right there. It's all by screen, big screen. Billy hammered away. Oh, did he hammer away. And when he preached, he pointed his finger, and it seemed like that finger was right on my nose. I couldn't get away from it. And everything came back. "You liar. You hypocrite. You use God. You ought to be ashamed of yourself." I fell down on the floor on my knees. I cried like a baby. God didn't care. God had me right where he wanted me. I got up, my wife got up, and a voice said to me, "What about your wife?" And I turned and looked at her. She looked at me. She got up, came over to me, took my hand, and she said, "Don, let's both go up." And we both went up and received Christ. They gave us a Bible. Never read a Bible in my life. And I opened it up. We're sitting in a love seat we never sat in before, leather. I opened it up like that, and I said, I'll point my finger at something. She, "Well, what does it say?" "The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him." Nahum 1:7. I will never forget that verse of scripture. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for your patience, unless our president has something to say.
He knows I always have something to say. I'm not sure how much time we have, but we could take a couple of questions. Does anybody have any questions for Don? Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I need the secret to your strength and your youth. Like, how have you stayed in this great shape?
Hey, Don, what's the secret to, he'll turn 101 on May 3rd. What's the secret to staying healthy for so long?
You know, I think about that all the time. I've had a good life. I've done some naughty things, but I love the Lord. He straightened my life out. And I love him. And I'll always love him. And I love people because I love God. When I go to Iwo Jima, it's not going to be easy. I lost a lot of buddies, a lot of them. I've had them lay right over my body. God is so good to me. But, you know, why did he pick me out? It's strange. Who hath known the mind of the Lord? Or who hath been his counselor? Nobody.
So what Don always tells me is that when you quit moving, you quit moving. So anybody in here, how many of y'all know Don and have seen him in a lot of places, right? He's out singing, he's out dancing, he's out speaking, and the more that he does that, the more energized he is. So yes, he'll be on Iwo Jima on the 28th of March, so keep him in your thoughts and prayers when he goes on that island that day. Any other questions for him?
Is he going to sing?
Today he is going to sing for you. Yes, sir. Okay, well, if there's no more questions, Don, would you like to sing God Bless America for the crowd?
I would love to. And we'll all stand because that's our other patriotic song.
You going to tell him the story about that song?
I can get up there. All right, sing with me. How many of you know it? Yeah, that always happens, about half. All right, sing it with me. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean, wide with foam. God bless America, our home, sweet home. God bless America, our home, sweet home. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. Wow. Kind of speechless. To recognize your program presentation,
Pardon?
to recognize your program, it's a tradition of the Rotary Club
Well.
to make a donation in your honor
Thank
to
you.
Rotary International's Holio Plus Fund.
I got a baggie. You got a baggie too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. This is it.
Thank you.
All right.
Wow, what a wonderful hour we have spent together today. In closing, I have 4 things to share. First, thanks to our sponsor, TriQuest Technologies and Cindy Tonagas. We appreciate you. Second, it's now just 4 weeks until the Richard L. Knight Rotary Minority Business Awards program. The applications are in. The judging has been completed. and the countdown is on. The winners will be announced on Friday, April 17th at the RMBA Luncheon event. This is a big day for our club, and I hope you will come and bring your friends. Third, the Finance Committee is meeting today in the Rotary office immediately after we adjourn. And finally, next week, we will welcome Christopher Maffei, Supervisory Agent, the Dallas-Fort Worth office of the FBI. Yeah. This wraps up our meeting. Thanks again to Keith and the Colleyville Club for their leadership on the Rotary Global Grant, and a special thank you to Don and Mary for sharing your heartwarming story with us. As they say, Semper Fi. Thanks everyone for being here today. Have a great weekend. Our meeting is adjourned.